Hello. Management at all levels is a function of systematic approach towards addressing developmental challenges. Tonight, we take a look at waste management in Nigeria. Good evening and welcome to Weekend File. Part of the environmental challenges confronting governments at all levels in the country is the management of wastes generated from domestic and industrial activities. Poor waste management has resulted in uncontrolled dumping of refuse at different locations in towns and cities, especially in suburban areas where sanitation is at its lowest ebb. All the states of the Federation, including the FCT, have environmental agencies charged with the responsibility to ensure adequate waste management from evacuation to value addition to the different categories of wastes that can also be processed and converted into useful products in what is today known as reverse engineering. There are perspectives to the reasons for poor waste management in the country, namely non-compliance with regular payments of environment levies, multiple and illegal levies, and unwholesome activities of some officials of environmental agencies, which often lead to refusal by many people to pay. Some experts believe that waste management should have a place in the current economic diversification process, as huge wealth is domiciled in all forms of waste. Some private organizations in a few states are known to have established automated waste recycling machinery, but the capacity of those few corporate bodies cannot match the huge quantity of waste generated in the country. So tonight, we will take a closer look at waste management issues with a view to highlighting preferred solutions by experts in our correspondence reports from across the nation. This is Weekend File, and I am Kirian Umayo. Thank you for finding time to join us on the show for today. And of course, next is the news as usual. Power, Works and Housing Minister Babatunde Raji Fashola has emphasized teamwork, service delivery and customer centricity as the focus for management staff in the ministry. Musa Toliat reports from Lagos that the minister was addressing a management retreat.
Two-day retreat which had in attendance directors, chief executive officers and heads of units of the Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing was a brainstorming session to advance the goals and objectives of the three ministries. Topics discussed include effective and efficient utilization of electricity, durable and safe road, key for economic integration and development, as well as ease of doing business. The Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, in his keynote address mentioned that the Mambila Power Project will generate 3,050 megawatts to further stimulate the economy.
We are in a race to deliver. And all of the things that will help us deliver include how efficiently we apply the executive orders that government has issued about transparency, service delivery, one government principle, 24-hour port. I think the Ministry of Power, Works and Housing is critical to the success of those orders. So we need these informal settings once in a while, away from the office.
The minister stressed the need for staff of the three ministries to adopt positive mindset and embrace teamwork to achieve effective service delivery. In Lagos, Musa Tolian, NTA News.
Recommendations at the national retreat revitalizing the water and sanitation sector in Nigeria suggests that President Muhammadu Buhari should declare a national state of emergency to enhance the political will for accelerated development of urban water supply and sanitation. Musbaudan Wahab was part of the just concluded two-day national retreat in Abuja, and our reports.
It's been a thorough brainstorming session as the Minister, State Commissioners of Water Resources, national and state lawmakers as well as national and international private partners seek to fashion out appropriate solution to revitalize urban water supply and sanitation. Different sessions addressed issues of governance, sustainability, sanitation, finance and monitoring and evaluation, appraising the challenges, solutions and prospects in the sector. In a communique, the retreat submits that the sector is in a critical condition and requires immediate attention.
Public-private partnership should be adopted in the management of sanitation facilities in the area of transportation, treatment, disposal, and reuse.
With the constitutional responsibility clearly shared among the tiers of government, Water Resources Minister Suleiman Adamu harps on the need for genuine commitment and partnership to fix the sector.
The message I want you to take out of this place is a new commitment, a resolve that we are doing this thing for our people, we are doing it for posterity, and we should sit down and do what is right. And the way we are going is wrong. We think we are making effort, but we are not. We are taking one step forward and two steps backwards.
We're going to have a clear implementation plan that by the time we begin to implement it, there will be improvement to water supply and sanitation in Nigeria, especially in the urban areas, and at the same time, there will be sustainability for the people.
With all the blames and responsibilities shared going forward, it is expected that all the stakeholders will follow up with plans and actions. In Abuja, Musbal and Wahab, NT News.
Nigerians have been urged to effectively engage their leaders, especially at the grassroots level, on the trajectory of governance. Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, Senator Ita Enang, was speaking at an interactive session with young Nigerians organized by a Buhari Friends Organization Network. Debola Brooksland Sunday was there for NTA News.
Call it a convergence of youths from all walks of life.
I'm so proud to be a Nigerian.
Participants asked questions and made contributions on issues bordering on national development. Senator Ita Enang, who is patron of the network, says leaders at the state level should be held accountable.
A lot of people in every village will want to come and say, Buhari, we voted for Buhari. You also voted for the governor of your state. You also voted for the local government chairman. When money comes, it is shared between the local government, state government, and federal government. The federal government takes its own share: security, maintaining the police, external relations, buying arms. The state government is also used for education and other infrastructural development at the state level.
Organizers say the forum is fashioned after the Chatham House in London and urged all Nigerians to be part of it so as to get answers to questions on national discourse. Adebola, Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
Initiative and Development, a non-governmental organization, has formally Soapbox NG platform to effectively engage citizens on progressive national issues. Salihu Abdullahi reports that it is an initiative that will serve as a vehicle to drive deliberate actions to promote brotherhood towards nation building.
The initiators of the platform noticed a gap in decent and civic communication, which often make people engage in violence conduct affecting nationhood. Soapboxing platform hopes to improve and engage Nigerians through informed conversation in a coordinated and sustainable manner.
With kind of languages and nationalities like Nigeria, the best way of cooperation in nation building is federalism.
Remember, we are talking about our nationhood, and every one of us must contribute in our own different ways to reinvent our nationhood. We must not pretend.
Initiative for dialogue and development through the Soapbox program, like Student Internship Program and YX Assembly Nigeria, is expected to take the campaign around the country. The forum has strategic partners, including the academia, politicians and professionals as resource persons. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Strengthening the bonds of unity and peaceful coexistence amongst Nigerians has again been re-emphasized at a one-day National Stakeholders Peace Summit put together by the National Orientation Agency in collaboration with the Rail Master Plan Resources, a non-governmental organization. Deborah Micah reports that the event is in commemoration of the nation's 57th independence anniversary.
Hate speeches and secessionist agitations which are capable of disrupting the nation's peace of late have been making headlines. To this end, the National Orientation Agency is partnering non-governmental organizations to build the peace of the nation, which cannot be compromised through her peace and unity campaigns. The event was designed to reignite the patriotic zeal in Nigerians, advising Nigerians to be conscious of the negative implications of disharmony among the people.
The program of peace has a lot of demands. Okay? Part of peace is that you must have acceptable norms and ethics. You must have values and principles. And in between this, you must have a justice system. Okay? The moment you have this, then you have peace.
Peace is something that we must collectively work for and sustain.
The event, supported by religious leaders, honored the chairman of the 6 area councils in the FCT, commending their efforts in promoting peace and unity in their domain.
We all Nigerians, within and wherever we find ourselves, to be peace-loving, and with that, Nigeria will stand as one indivisible entity.
In Abuja, Deborah Micah, NTA News.
The prime place of education in the developmental process of a nation has never been doubted globally. Perhaps this is why Speaker, House of Representatives Yakubu Dogara is challenging well-meaning Nigerians who have passed through the 4 walls of a university to give back to such institution. The Speaker said this at the University of Jos Alumni Association reunion dinner and award night in Abuja. Glory Ekanem has the report.
Established in 1975, the University of Jos, located in Plateau State, has over the years churned out well-meaning Nigerians who are top players in diverse sectors of the country, and they have come together to birth an alumni association that will help in promoting quality education in Nigeria.
The anvil of the door of the opportunity that the University of Jos opened for us to be who we are today. It is our responsibility now to keep that door open for every young man who desires to acquire university education.
It is the National University Commission and other stakeholders in the curriculum development of universities that should promote the type of thing that will result in Nigeria that has packaged its educational program to such an extent and at such high level that we have world-class teaching.
Awards were given to spur former students of the school to do more, not only for the university, but to maintain the lead in whatever sector they find themselves.
I'm sure there's so many people who are doing what we're doing, but I think for everybody, we should always remember our alma mater. I know how much the university has contributed to what I am today.
Going to assist tremendously in enhancing the quality of education in Nigeria.
The University of Jos also used the occasion to call on other former students to contribute to the moral and physical development of the institution. In Abuja, Gloria Kanem, NTA News.
The Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, has directed an elaborate deployment of police personnel across the country to ensure a hitch-free and peaceful Independence Day celebration. Commissioners of police in all states of the Federation and their supervising Assistant Inspectors General of Police to carry out massive deployment of officers and men of the force throughout the country to ensure adequate security and to guarantee utmost protection of life and property. The deployed personnel are directed to be civil, polite, but firm in the discharge of their responsibilities. They are also to pay special attention to places of celebrations, public places, and other locations where people will gather to celebrate the independence anniversary. The IGP also directed the police commanding officers to deploy all intelligence and personnel to make sure that the purported quit notice given to the Igbos in the north, as well as the Hausa, Fulanis, and Yorubas in the Niger Delta region, are not actualized. And more on security, the Defense Headquarters has reaffirmed the commitment of the Nigerian Armed Forces towards protecting the territorial integrity of the country. This was by the Director of Defense Information, Major General John Enenche, at a media briefing in Abuja. Olajide Bello reports.
Despite the dynamic nature of crimes within the country, ranging from insurgency to militancy, cattle rustling and others, the armed forces are showing strength and professionalism in degrading the challenges posed through various operations like Operation Lafia Dole, Operation Delta Safe, Operation Mesa, among others. These operations, no doubt, have been recording success through the restoration of peace to the affected parts within the country. For further assurance on the Armed Forces combat readiness, the Director of Defense Information speak.
The Defense Headquarters reaffirms its commitment to routine training and regular exercising of troops to keep fit professionally in order to tackle security challenges in the country.
He also comments on the withdrawal of threat of eviction for October 1st.
The Nigerian Armed Forces have put measures in place to ensure that in case there is any renege on any of the promises made, it will be countered effectively and handled decisively. So nobody should be afraid.
Major General Enenche commended President Muhammadu Buhari for providing adequate logistics for the armed forces to effectively discharge its statutory responsibility to the country. In Abuja, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
Wife of the Commander Royal Jordanian Air Force, Faryal Salum, has commended the humanitarian services of the Nigerian Air Force Officers' Wives Association towards providing relief for victims of insurgency and capacity building for members and their families. This was when she was received by the NAFOA President Hafsat Abubakar at the Association Secretariat in Abuja. Olajide Bello again reports that the NAFOA President had earlier paid collaborative visit to Jordan.
With over 1,000 beneficiaries in its entrepreneurship and skill acquisition scheme, an intervention spread across internally displaced persons camps in the northeast, NAFOA President Hafsat Abubakar reiterated their continued support to complement the federal government's efforts at providing succor for victims of insurgency. Hafsat Abubakar said for a more formidable, effective and professional air force, there is the need for adequate welfare for the families of the airmen, and that is where NAFOA is filling the gap.
In carrying out programs and outreaches that add value to human lives, we build capacity among our women, youths and children in the Air Force bases and the surrounding communities.
Wife of the Commander Royal Jordanian Air Force, Faryal Salum, described the visit as a pointer to the existing relationship between the air force of both countries.
What I can say about hospitality.
She was later conducted on a guided tour to NAFOA Special Needs School, NAFOA Little Angels Primary School, Air Force Girls Comprehensive, and also treated to a bit of Nigerian arts and culture at the Abuja Arts Village. The visit for NAFOA is one of its international relations aimed at achieving its mandate. In Abuja, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
Now, members of All Progressive Congress APC Rivers State under the aegis of Progressives Alliance are calling on the Senator representing Rivers Southeast Senatorial District, Magnus Abe, to run for 2019 gubernatorial elections, describing him as an embodiment of talent and quality leadership. Usinachi Samuel reports that delegates from the 23 local government areas of the state produced a 6-point communique in which they urged Senator Abe to answer the clarion call.
The meeting was a decision-making one, and the first public announcement of elders and members of the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State urging Senator Magnus Abe to make himself available to run for the Guber election come 2019. 6-point communique presented by Barrister Wogo Bonds as a working document drew attention to the growing division in the Rivers APC, which they say, if not addressed, may pose serious danger to the party's electoral chances in 2019.
Without a provocation and with the power and support of both the party constitution and the Nigerian constitution, the meeting stated that Senator Magnus Abe's eminent qualification to aspire to the office of Governor of Rivers State under our party could not be questioned.
They also resolved to give equal rights to all APC faithful to contest for any political office according to the rules and regulations of the party, without handpicking of candidates as it was done in the past. Motion for the adoption of the communique was moved and adopted by key actors in the party. In Port Harcourt, Osinachi Samuel, NTA News.
Following the 8 hours extended conciliatory meeting at the instance of the Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, the Joint Health Sector Unions, JOHESU, has agreed to hold an emergency National Executive Council NEC meeting to deliberate on agreements reached with the federal government with a view to calling off its ongoing strike action early next week.
Certainly, we will send invitations out tomorrow for them to arrive by Monday. Then Tuesday we hold our meeting. So hopefully by Tuesday or latest Wednesday, not beyond Wednesday, they will be all back in their duty.
Nigerian Communications Commission has reiterated its commitment to promoting regulatory excellence and consumer satisfaction. NCC Executive Chairman Professor Omar Garba Dambata said this in Mina, Niger State, during the Consumer Conservation Program held to educate telecom consumers on the Do Not Disturb short code and their rights, as well as their privileges. Olagunji Oriemi reports.
The Consumer Conversation Program, which was the 5th in the North Central Zone, educated members of the public on the activities of the Commission, as well as interacted with the people to know some of their challenges with network service providers. The Executive Vice Chairman NCC, Umar Garba Dambata, represented by the head of Zonal Operations, Ms. Helen Obi, explained that the Do Not Disturb service is for all networks, hence the need for subscribers to test STOP in capital letters to 2442 to stop receiving all forms of unwanted text messages, or send help also in capital letters to 2442 for options of text messages. He said telecommunication subscribers are also enjoined to report unaddressed issues by their network providers to the NCC toll-free line 622 to improve quality of service. The Executive Vice Chairman also cleared grey areas as it affects electromagnetic fields, EMF radiation, and noted that telecom masts installed around houses are not harmful to humans, as it has not been proven scientifically. He enjoined people to always protect telecommunication facilities around them for better services.
This forum is one of the activities designed by Nigerian Communications Commission to mark the NCC Year of the Telecom Consumer in recognition of the importance of the consumer and their contribution to growing the network.
That's to show there is improvement. There is some things we don't know before, but we begin to know now. Formerly, I would just load my phone and the data, I will change it to data. At the end of the day, the thing is not even connecting.
There were questions and answers session to address some of the issues raised at the forum. Olagunju Oriyomi, NTA News.
As part of activities marking Nigeria's 57th independence anniversary, President Muhammadu Buhari will tomorrow, Sunday, 1st October, make a broadcast to the nation. A statement from the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, enjoins all television and radio stations to hook up to the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, and Radio Nigeria at 7 o'clock in the morning for the broadcast by the President. Now, you can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can also download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you have devices with iOS. Well, we thank you for staying with us up to this moment on Weekend File. Poor waste management has indeed become a source of worry mainly because of the health implication of indiscriminate dumping of refuse, especially in drainage channels, which are often blocked and subsequently result in flooding during rainy seasons. In all, it is crystal clear that the challenges of waste management has lingered for decades, as no policy has comprehensively and successfully addressed the unending managerial lapses in this area. There will be more insight on the waste management situation in our correspondence reports from across the nation, plus of course in our conversation segment, and that's up ahead.
From 1967 to 1970, Nigeria went through a horrifying civil war. It didn't matter who was wrong or right. Everybody suffered. Those who fought that war say it should never happen again.
So a lot of people will say, but you were leading the first one. Yes, I led the first one. I don't think a second one is necessary. We should have learned from that first one. Otherwise, the dead would have been to no avail, would all have been in vain.
The words of our elders are full of wisdom.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Well, there's no substitute for democracy, particularly in a multi-national, multi-ethnic, multi-religious, and multi-linguistic society like ours.
They were all well-educated professionals who were doing something from which they were deriving their livelihood. They never looked at politics as a means of survival.
People like us, like me, because I'm about of the ministers of the First Republic, there are only two of us alive in the world today. Only Shagari and myself.
We lifted ban on politics and invited interested people to come and campaign for various offices.
Our Nigeria, showing on the network service of the NTA on 1st October.
When the kings of African comedy gather under one roof,
there is only one outcome.
Then we bring down the roof.
Come witness the craziest
and the funniest, the oh my God,
and the baddest of them all. Laughter will scatter your brain well.
Come watch the biggest names in African comedy at Glow Laughter Fest. Basket Mouth, Bovi, I Go Die, Sheyi Law, Gordons, Salvador, Osama, Bash, Kenny Black, and many more.
You will never have a bigger gathering of jaw-dropping, whip-cracking comedians under one roof.
One microphone, one network.
All over Nigeria. Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
I am gonna be there. I'm going to be there.
Live and direct.
For the time of your life.
Will you?
To win a free ticket, use 2,000 Naira in a month and text LOL and your preferred location to 240.
Oh, Laughter Fest. Laugh go kill you, die.
True.
Glow Unlimited.
Nigeria is a strong emerging world economy with a population of over 170 million people. With the diligent work of the Standards Organization of Nigeria, in line with the federal government's economic diversification agenda, SON has put in place accredited laboratories to ensure that made in Nigeria products meet international standards and ready for export. SON regularly conducts products registration, certifications, factory inspections, monitoring, a metrology laboratory to get accurate measurements, while SONCAP checks the conformity of imported products and the SON Legal Act to prosecute offenders. Don't sell and don't buy substandard products. Before you buy, look well. See something, say something, or call these numbers. SON, improving life through standards.
The Inspector General of Police invites the general public to a lecture on security under the distinguished chairmanship of the Honorable Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Pastor Usani Oguru Usani, and the co-chairman, Honorable Minister of Budget and National Planning, Senator Udoma Udo Udoma. The theme of the lecture is Insecurity, Socio-Economic Impact and Conflict Resolution Perspectives. Date, October 3rd, 2017. Venue, Ibom Hall, Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. Time, 11 a.m. Guest speaker, Professor Oshita O. Oshita, Director General, Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution, Abuja. Special guests of honor, Governors of Akwa Ibom, Cross River, River State, Edo, Delta, and Bayelsa State. Royal Fathers of the Day, Chairman, South-South Traditional Councils. Chief Host, Ibrahim Idris, Inspector General of Police.
Availability, check. Confidentiality, check. Integrity, check. Transformation in action. The 6 years of Governor Abdul Aziz Abubakar Yari in Zamfara State clearly manifest good governance and foresight. In fact, transforming the agrarian state to the promised land. Welcome to Zamfara, a state being governed by a visionary and dynamic leader whose magic finger is touching every aspect of human lives. No wonder Abdul Aziz Yari is being referred as agent of Buhari's change mantra. Yari is bringing development closer to the Zamfara people and the nation at large. Zamfara, the pride of the nation. This message is brought to you by Iowa Media Group.
Happy Independence, Nigeria. This message is courtesy Senator Hope Uzodinma, Chairman, Southern Senators Forum.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Weekend File on the network service of the NTA. Now to the main business of tonight. Environmental experts have identified poor attitude of the environment by residents of Jos and environs as the major reason for waste littered in major streets, waterways, and in some residential areas. Cameron Canning Ladoja has that report for us.
Heaps and stretch of solid wastes are a common sight across Jos and Bukuru metropolis of Plateau State. Waterways, markets, streets, open fields and some residential areas serve as the waste dumps for some residents, as some others express their displeasure.
Actually, the way the people are throwing their waste around is causing a lot of catastrophe. When there is rainfall, you will find out that it will be, the dirt will be splashing on the road, and if the road will become so filthy, so dirty, and at the same time, they are even the ones that are causing all these floods.
Some disease, they may become through that dirty.
The government should provide a means of dumping the waste, either by burning it or get a safe place so that it will not affect the health of the people.
Management of waste, which involves the collection, keeping, treating and disposal of waste in such a way that it is harmless to man and the environment, is a challenge that the Plateau State Commissioner for Environment, Abdullahi Garba Abbas, says the state government has taken up by engaging the services of waste management consultants.
We have 2005 ad hoc staff recruited by Plateau State government to manage waste on the plateau. This ad hoc staff, in particular, we have demarcated Jos and Bukuru metropolis into 10 zones. Then a particular operator will be giving this zone to man or to manage.
The commissioner noted that managing the attitude of people towards waste disposal is the greatest challenge in waste management. Other factors responsible are lack of adequate funding, overpopulation, unorganized urbanization, and the lack of political will on the part of leaders. Environment activists say Waste should not just be disposed with no regard of future use.
Lots of these things can be used even in your home. For example, the plastic containers, instead of always buying water, swan water, you can use it again by boiling water in your house and then filling it up in those containers.
Efficient management of waste, they say, requires effective collaboration of all stakeholders involved in waste generation, disposal and management. In Jos, Ekemeren Kaneng Laduja, NTA News.
The determination of Oyo State government to end disasters associated with poor waste management is receiving the cooperation of the people and achieving results. And that's where we go next as Oyeyinka Folarami reports.
Once beaten, twice shy, so says our popular adage, and for a state like Oyo that has witnessed perennial flooding over the years, we no doubt do everything possible to avert further loss of lives and valuables. Apart from natural occurrence, human activities contribute in no small measure to some environmental disaster like flooding and other health hazards, which could not be divorced from construction of illegal structures, poor waste disposal and management. The Oyo State government embarked on massive enlightenment campaign for the people on proper waste disposal, weekly and monthly environmental sanitation, as well as formulation of various environmental policies. Although, as these efforts are ongoing with its effects being felt in marketplaces, major areas and interior parts of Ibadan, the state capital, some residents still engage in dumping their refuse at the road median and water channels, including rivers.
Inside a nylon bag, then we take it to a very nearby junction where the waste management can just take it.
No, there shouldn't be dumping of refuse. Maybe inside maybe gutter or blockage of where erosion should pass. So now it should be a collective task in controlling flooding in Oyo State.
About 4 years ago, or more than that, before there was tenor, a lot of violence occurring about the flood. But when you look about all the gutter, they have cleaned it due to the environmental sanitation, their service. I think it's okay.
Other steps being taken by the Oyo State government are public-private partnership in waste management and stiffer penalty for violators of environmental laws across the state for a safer, cleaner, and healthier environment. In Ibadan, Oyeyinka Folarami, NTA News.
Indiscriminate dumping of refuse, especially in drainages and canals, is a factor militating against waste management and a major cause of flooding in some states in the southeast zone. Chineyang Woye has a situation report on waste and refuse evacuation in Enugu State.
Cleanliness, they say, is next to godliness. A clean environment also promotes healthy living, growth and development, while a dirty environment is one of the causes of health and environmental hazards. With this in mind, the Enugu State government recently procured more sanitation and refuse evacuation equipment and has made adequate arrangements to ensure a clean and healthy environment.
Because of the human activities or human actions and technology, scientific developments, some of those balances are being tilted, a kind of distorted. And when they are there, when they are distorted, there is bound to be a kind of reaction.
The Enugu State Waste Management Authority is living up to its responsibility of evacuating to the dump site bagged refuse disposed in dumpsters placed at strategic places. However, the bad attitude of some residents who do not bag their refuse and litter them indiscriminately in the environment, especially in drainages and rivers, is a major challenge confronting the agency's efforts and leads to flooding, especially with this rainy season.
I will also advise the general public to stop pushing their debris inside the river, because if you have a river here and where you pushing the dirt, there are some other people somewhere else taking that water. So it is very, very hazardous to our health.
So many problems we have had in this part of the country relating to disaster are in one way to the other connected to environmental negligence.
Also, to ensure a cleaner and healthier environment, sanitation exercise is held in Enugu State every last Saturday of the month, and residents are expected to participate actively in the exercise, while those who violate sanitation laws and rules are prosecuted in environmental court and made to pay fine. The state government is currently partnering with a private company to facilitate the conversion of waste in the state to energy and fertilizer. With Enugu State named by the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency as one of the states that may experience flooding this year, environmental experts have advised residents of the state to desist from dumping refuse and waste in drainages and waterways so as to avert flooding. In Enugu, Chineye Nwoye, NTN News.
And in view of the huge tons of refuse generated in Kano, the state government is calling on private individuals to participate in the business of refuse management to give the state a facelift. Ramatu Abdullahi reports on the development in the Kano city.
The issue of waste and its management in Kano is challenging due to the fact that Kano is one of the most populous cities in Nigeria. About 7,000 tons of refuse generated from the markets, individual households, as well as industrial waste are evacuated from 114 refuse collection sites across the state.
Because there are collection centers that we go, for example, after 2 days. Some we go after 3 days. There are some that we go after a week. Some stay for up to 2 weeks. But there are some that we must go every day.
To complement the effort, a sizable number of companies are involved under the public-private partnership, but this is also inadequate. The Managing Director of Refuse Management and Sanitation Board, Remasap Kano, Malam Muhammad Adamu Bichi, called for the involvement of private sector to rid the state of filth and other waste, as government alone cannot shoulder the responsibility.
We should ensure that when we bring out our refuse, we take it to the appropriate collection center for appropriate disposal.
We have some number of equipments and machineries as well as personnels. But this does not mean that we do not need addition of these equipment and machineries.
Refuse collection and disposal, indeed, is a collective responsibility of all. In Kano, Ramatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
And in a short while, we'll be bringing you the conversation segment of the program with an expert in waste management. And that's next after the break. Keep it here.
Unemployment, notably youth unemployment, features strongly in our party's manifesto. We intend to attack the problem frontally through revival of agriculture.
The 30K is going a long way. Actually, I bought an acre of land for 60K like 2012, and presently I have a cassava farm and a yam farm.
Are you all right?
Hospital, all night.
Oh.
Emergency.
We are losing her, we are losing her.
Don't worry, I'll save her. Driver!
What is wrong with you?
Building burned down.
What?
It was life or death.
He said, boy.
I've got the dog! Hey, Mr. Man, wake up!
This is Sparta!
My resignation letter, sir.
Warning, with so much Glow data, you may get carried away. These data plans are available to all new customers and existing customers who renew their plans. Dial *777#. The largest data network. Glow, grandmasters of data.
Segun Odegbami came into national prominence wearing the number 7 shirt for the then Green Eagles. He was fondly known as Mathematical Segun.
So throw into Nigeria. Amesimaka. And that's Odegbami, and it's in the net. It is a goal. Segun got it.
In 1984, at the end of his football career, he joined the media and started reporting football events, whilst working as a football consultant analyst for several international organizations. In 1994, he was team manager of the most successful national team in Nigeria's history, the Green Eagles, that played Tunisia '94 and USA '94. Registered as an international athletes representative with the IAAF, Segun funded and mentored for 4 years 2 athletes who became Nigeria's first Olympic gold and silver medalist at the 1996 Atlanta Olympics, Chioma Jumwa and Charity Opara. He joined Sonny Ojegbase to float probably Africa's largest and most successful sporting publishing company, Complete Communications Limited, publishers of a daily sports newspaper, Complete Sports. Segun Odegbami, MON, will be speaking at the platform on With Sports, We Can Transform Nigeria. Theme, putting together the jigsaw pieces that form Nigeria. Date, 2nd of October at 9 a.m. Venue, The Covenant Place, Igomu, right next to the National Theatre. To register, visit www.theplatformnigeria.com/register. Admission is free. The platform is powered by Covenant Christian Center.
Now with me now in the studio is Ms. Abiola Basharul, the Chief Executive Officer of the Zoom Lion Global Alliance involved in waste evacuation and management. You're welcome to Weekend File.
Thank you.
Now, let's first of all do a review of the reports across the nation with respect to evacuation and management of refuse, or if you like, waste. So what's your perspective to this? What you have observed so far?
Well, I can start by saying my observations revolve around concepts, really, and the attitudes of the people, and funding, and also the technical know-how of the people in charge of it. And also I'm beginning to see, whilst we're dealing so much in this, that there needs to be a synergy between the private sector and the public sector.
Okay, now you watched all the reports that we put across this evening, concerning waste in Nigeria. I could see that a huge, problem across the nation. We have 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. I could see that the evacuation is even a major issue. Now, when you talk about a collaboration or a synergy between government and of course, private organizations, how would that work? You are in charge of a private organization. How would it work?
Well, I guess it will work the way it's meant to work. I believe the federal government or the state government, local governments will provide the policies, they will provide the enforcements, in some cases the financials and the funding, whilst the private sector comes in with a lot of technical know-how, a lot of result-oriented practices, and then that synergy will give you a holistic and effective waste management. Now,
result-oriented practices. You are a professional in this area. So what does Zoom Lion Global Alliance do, because it's involved in the waste evacuation and management?
Yes. Okay, what we do is we are experts in not only waste management, but waste management as a concept of environmental management and financial management, because most of us are ex-bankers, and we have started to go a step further to say, okay, how do we start to bridge the gap between what the government can provide and what you actually need for waste management. Because waste management is a practice that is very capital intensive, but when you look at the returns on the other side of the balance sheet, you will find out that a lot can be put in, but you can't get that money back so on time. So how do we bridge this gap to make this happen very quickly and to also help the people stay alive, really?
Okay, now our towns and cities are, you know, full of waste here and there at different locations. Some are indiscriminately, you know, disposed, and that is also bringing about some kind of health hazards. And you see, younger generation of Nigerians are unemployed. How could this be converted to employment with respect to establishing, I know, technologically driven practice, as you rightly mentioned, to see how this can be, those wastes can be recycled and products come out of them? Is there a possibility?
Yes, and this is where I bring in the practice going on right now. When we came from Ghana, we started to go from state to state, and the only state government that really caught the vision very quickly, because they also had it in their, I think, their deliverables to the people, is Kaduna State government. Malam Nasir El-Rufai is very passionate about the environment, is very passionate about his people. So amongst the 15 states we approached, Kaduna State was the only state that gave a concept that involved the youths. Kaduna State was like, you're going to come in as an expert, but we're going to make sure we recruit at least 20% of our unemployed youths. Because Kaduna population is predominantly youth-based. And the governor and his government are of the opinion that since we need a whole lot of people to do this, it is an avenue to provide employment for the people. And because they are also members of families, we will be able to now disseminate that knowledge and drill it down into homes. And that's what we have in Kaduna State, where about 6,500 of the youth are employed in this sector.
All right. I'm glad you brought in El-Rufai in this. He did it in Abuja as the Minister of the FCTA during his time. That was when Abuja began to have a real feel of you know, the nation's capital, cleanliness and what have you. Now, somebody's waste is another person's wealth, you know, and we have also discussed a bit of it, you know, in the past. But for now, we want a situation where state governments and even the federal governments could come together as in other climes. You know, there is this deliberate plan, deliberate attempt to see how these wastes can be, you know, recycled and made products out of it. If you are in a position to advise government on this, well, what would you be telling them?
First slogan for us is no waste is to be wasted, because there's nothing like waste anymore. Waste is raw material. In fact, where the world is going now is zero waste to the dump site or to the landfill. So the first thing we want is for the government to start to put some money into the long term. And in the long term, what we're going to have will be the material recovery facility, where when you've picked the waste, you can separate them. Once this is done, plastics go towards plastic recycling. Soft plastic is the biggest menace in the environment. They are the ones that will go and clog the drainages and clog the canals, etc. So that goes into recycling of plastics, which is what we're doing in Kaduna State from next year. And then you go into metal recycling, and if the state is not even ready because of funding, the separation can be done, and you won't believe it, can be exported. We have started to talk to some Malaysian companies, we're talking to some Hungarian companies that would like to buy this waste off.
What are Nigerian companies? No Nigerian companies coming up for that?
No, I don't think any Nigerian company wants to buy waste, because we have it in abundance. A lot of countries that have started to do waste to energy are not producing as much domestic waste, so they will need to buy from us, really, eventually.
All right, thank you very much for your insight in this. Well, time is too short for us, but of course you've made your points. Abiola Basharu, the CEO, Zoom Lion Global Alliance, involved in waste evacuation and management. Thank you once again for coming on Weekend File. Now, stay tuned for sports news and weather reports.
Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, Sir Ahmadu Bello, Chief Obafemi Awolowo.
These patriots worked together to achieve independence for one united Nigeria. Although some may say Nigeria is a mistake, we all know that the Almighty never makes mistakes.
God has not made a mistake by bringing us all together in the way that He has brought us together. God has put us together here so that we can build a community that will be an example to the entire world.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is working to ensure access to safe, good quality essential medicines with the World Health Organization pre-qualification of made in Nigeria pharmaceutical products, stiffer penalties for fake drug offenders with a review of NAFDAC laws, national, regional, and international collaborations, cutting-edge technologies, including the mobile authentication service.
The production and distribution of counterfeit medicine and adulterated food products have negative impact on our health and economy as a whole. I urge all Nigerians to support NAFDAC in safeguarding our health. God bless Nigeria.
Let us support NAFDAC to win the war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
Now, sports is next with Adiola Mokidi.
Nigeria's under-20 women football team, the Falconets, will